Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition, the Gold Coast edition of the Village Law SEQFC preview show. My name is Darren, and we've got some guests in for you this week. We've got Mark Madge from Football Gold Coast. G'day, Mark.
Darren, how you going?
Good, good. We have got Brett Budwee, who's the coach at Palm Beach. G'day, Butters.
Hey, mate, how you going?
Good, good. And our newbie this week is Gareth Philpott, and Gareth is the coach at Tallebudgera. How are you, Gareth?
Good, guys. Thanks for the invite.
Looking resplendent in your Welsh tracksuit.
I'm trying.
How are they going to go in the Euros, mate?
I think Denmark's the dark horse. I don't fancy us against Denmark, but we're a small nation. We were just happy to get to the Euros, you know? That's what I've got to keep on saying.
Exactly. You do have that guy named Bale, so he goes all right, doesn't he?
He's all right.
All right, so let's get to the weekend's fixtures first up in the Gold Coast Premier League. Now, I went to my first game on the weekend. I was very excited. Went down to the Croatia Club, caught the game between Palm Beach and Surfers, a home game for Surfers. And really impressed with the standard of the play. Surfers Paradise, what a quality side they are. Every time they had the ball, you could see the game slowed down for them. That's the best way to describe it. When Palm Beach had it, passing, doing their things. But with Surfers, the game slows down for them. They seem to have a lot more time on the ball, knocked it around, make some great decisions. Really enjoyable game. Now, Brett, tell us, give us your take on the game.
Look, yeah, enjoyable game. Obviously, good to get the a draw right at the end. It sort of felt like a win. To be honest with you, Darren, I've been, not agreeing with some of the assumptions of the game. Looking back, I've watched the game twice now in full, and especially in the first half, I thought we dominated possession. A lot of the time, and your question to Alex about absorbing pressure in the first half, I thought was a fair question, because a lot of the time we were camped in their half, and and I'm not being biased when I say this, but I watched the game and they were literally chasing shadows for parts of the game, and they got us on the counter attack through our mistakes when we were maybe overcommitted in possession, and then they got us on the counter attack. There was one opportunity where our centre back slipped over and they end up with a one-on-one with the keeper. No disrespect to Surfers, because they're obviously the best team in the league. But I just think that maybe we didn't get enough credit for how we played on Sunday in the wash-up.
I was watching the game, of course, sitting right next to Kirk, who is the technical director at Surfers Paradise. So we were discussing the game as it was progressing. And yes, we agreed that Surfers were absorbing a lot of pressure in the first half. However, you didn't get behind them very often. They managed to keep the play all in front of them, didn't they? So you had pressure, but you weren't penetrating as perhaps you could have.
Yeah, we had a couple opportunities. We hit the post. Shingo had a one-on-one with the keeper. So we did have opportunities to get on the scoreboard in the first half, and then they got us on the counter attack in the 40th minute sort of thing. The second half sort of opened up a little bit more. We shot ourselves in the foot a couple of times when we had the ball, give it back to them, which was, part of what I said before the game, that we need to make sure we didn't make mistakes, because they punish you when you do make mistakes. But at the end of the day, I was happy with the performance, happy with the 1 point. I didn't think we were outplayed at all.
Mark, did you do post-game interviews for this fixture?
Yep, I definitely did.
Did you do them on the field?
Yeah.
And straight after the game?
Straight after, yeah.
How was Alex straight after the game?
Alex is Alex. When Alex drops points, he's the worst person to interview. He's a good friend of mine, but he's a disaster to interview. But don't think many coaches are great to interview after they lose. So, draw in this aspect. But Alex used draws as a loss. I don't know, my cataracts must be really bad, and I must have really bad eyes, because I think Palm Beach dominated possession for the full 90 minutes. I think they had more possession for sure. I think that Tom Miller, especially in the first half, and Byron Skinner for the duration of the 90 minutes were the best attacking threats. But I think it could have been 10 goals in the game. I look at Bruno Rodriguez's first shot that Jackson pulled a fantastic save that he could have cut back to Teddy Watson. I look back at Palm Beach hitting the post in the first half that seemed like time just stopped and it just trickled and hit the post. You look at Dan Sharich missing an open goal, which was right in front of me. You look at the save that Curtis made, the tip save over the bar that he flicked over from that shot. Can't even know who it was. So there was goals, there was chances galore. I just think it was a game of missed opportunities personally. And I think goals change games. So, you know, again, time stopped when Hayden Sumner went one-on-one. The whole Croatian Sports Centre just stopped. And Jackson came up huge in that scenario. Did Jackson have to make a lot of outstanding saves? Probably not. He wasn't too troubled that for the duration of 90 minutes, but you know, there was definitely opportunities for both sides. Palm Beach had the better of possession, but, you know, as you said there, their best two penetrating players for me pretty much stopped in the second half, especially in the first half of the second half, I thought. I don't know what you thought, Brett, but especially in that opening exchange of the second half, it seemed like they just, I don't know, the boys just stopped going and then they kicked into gear in the midway through the half and then started pressing more and more on, which, you know, was good to see, but definitely a high quality game. And it shows you that Palm Beach's league position is just a position. It's nothing to do with style of play or nothing to do with competitiveness, because, you know, you watch that Premier League game and you can go, this is good, two fantastic teams playing, you know, good brands of football. You know, one of them playing probably the best brand of football in the league. I'll let you decide who I'm talking about, but I think it's a pretty clear answer. So, yeah, overall, pretty. You know, it was a good Sunday afternoon.
All right, now let's get to the bit at the end. So I conduct my interview with Butters, which goes perfectly smoothly. What a wonderful interview it was.
Because you've spoken to Brett 10,000 times in the last year and a half.
That's true. That's true. Now, I really wanted to speak to Alex, and because I hadn't met him before, so you know, Brett takes me over and asks Alex if he, you know, conduct an interview with me. He vouches for me. Alex comes out. I've forgotten his surname for some reason, so I had to ask him for his surname because, you know. So we got off on a bad foot, and then we started asking the questions, and I mentioned the 1-0 draw. It must have felt like a 1-0 draw for him as well, and he just did not want to do the interview. And I asked him rubbish questions, which he quite rightly nailed me with. And I knew I was done. So see you later. Off he goes. Great interview, car crash. We'll put a link to it in the posts, in the posts below. So, yes.
Many people talking, though.
What was that?
Depends what you're looking for. All publicity is good publicity, I think. So.
Oh, exactly.
And
exactly.
You got people talking.
I'll put it on LinkedIn as well.
The amount of people that sent it to me was, you know, have you seen this? Have you seen this? And I said, and I didn't see it until late because I had obviously the Gold Coast Knights FA Cup fixture to worry about as well. So by the time I saw it, it was good fun.
I didn't think the questions were too bad, Darren. I thought they were all right.
They were rubbish, mate. They were rubbish.
mate, I just say I didn't realise how tall you were, Darren. You could have been a good centre half back in your day, I reckon.
I was a goalkeeper.
Goalkeeper, there you go, 6'4".
6'2", yeah.
6'2",
All
I'll
right.
argue that.
Enough of that. Let's get to the other games. There were other games played on the weekend, funnily enough. Narang had a 4-0 win over Musgrave. Broadbeach, a 1-0 win over Runaway Bay. Kingscliff, 2-1 over Rabina. And Southport, 2-1 over Burleigh Heads. Mark, do your work on those games.
I went to all of them except the Kingscliff game. Narang, Musgrave, stock standard. Narang just were too good on the night. Capitalised in front of goal. Were just slick in movement. They've hit some good run of form now since the President's Cup and even before that to go top of the table provisionally until Friday night. Whether, you know, depending on Surface's result, but the table says at the moment they're top, and they've been playing, you know, positive football and getting the job done. Even when they don't play that well, they still get 3 points. So that's a sign of a good side for me. Musgrave, it's just more of a roller coaster week in, week out with them. You don't know what you're going to get because 1 minute, they can lose 9-0 and then they can go win 8-2 and then back to 4-0. So, it's just about consistency in that game. Look, the Broadbeach Brono Bay game was a very tight game. Obviously, Brono Bay beat them in the first round at Broadbeach, sort of stung them. And, Broadbeach didn't expect what they had to offer. Bay missed a penalty in this game in the first half, but they changed their style a little bit. They were still defending, numbers and really well, but they had a bit more outlet up front. So they had young Ethan Layton and their captain, Tyrone Corrier, up front, who a bit more mobile, moved around a bit more and created a bit more opportunities for them on the counters. And they had their chances too. Broadbeach were strong defensively. Diego Cuba popping up there for the winner and a great performance by him overall in the game, giving him player of the week and a big 3 points for them in their top 4 hunt. Obviously Palm Beach there or thereabouts. So, Broadbeach continue to get points. They know that, the importance of games that they have coming up, big games still left. The Southport Burleigh game was a, tough, tight affair between both teams. Not many opportunities going either way. The so-called better players, stars, if you want to call them, weren't really firing. Morgan Saunders was kept pretty quiet, the league top scorer. And then it was a Ross Paynes floated goal in the 91st minute to get them all 3 points. So, they were 1-0 behind, and then to come back, just gives them that keep in touch with Nerang and Surface out there and still keep the gap a little bit on Palm Beach and Broadbeach chasing them close behind. So, positive result there. Kingscliff is another one. I mean, from what I gather, Rabina's changed their style now to sit in. They're not going, man for man and just going for it. So, once teams do that, as we've been saying for plenty of weeks now, they're amateur footballers at the end of the day. So it's hard for them to play against that style, especially because they're not used to it. And they made it tough for Kingscliff. They kept battling. No goals were scored till the 73rd minute. So that tells you what kind of a game it was. But for Ross and the Kingscliff boys to come up, they needed that 3 points after the Surface draw, or else it'd mean absolutely nothing for them. And now, still a lot of work to do for them, but they're right there now with a bit of momentum and looking at their road ahead. They've got another tough game coming up next week against Nerang. But after that, they'll feel confident of getting points in the rest of the fixtures.
I've printed off round 13 and I've got the fixtures
next
being
week.
played. Yeah, so we've got a week off, have we?
All right, we've got a catch-up week. So we just got we're the week, but we've got Broadbeach playing Surface in a catch-up game.
Right. So one game.
One game.
All right.
That means all our focus can be on the Coast League.
That's true. That's true. We will come to that in just one moment, but I will get Brett's take on that match between Surface and Broadie. How's that going to go?
Look, I think Surface has got some injuries. I know Dean Wernerson was out. Matt Harris was out last week, but the lad that come in, Daryl Bright, I think his name was, played really well. He's one of the best players on the park. Broadbeach are always hard to beat no matter who's playing for them, but I think, Surface should be able to do the job.
All right. You agree with that, Mark?
I mean, I'm a betting man, you wouldn't bet against Surface, especially after the draw. The last time, we expected after the Kingscliff draw for them to come out. They did, but they didn't get the chocolates against Palm Beach. But, with the draw against, the President's Cup result, they came out the week after and piled on 9 goals at home. So, you hope that they're angry. You hope that they can look at the tables for their sake, that is. You can look at the tables during the week, pop up and see that you're no longer in top spot. They've been top spot since round 1 after they pasted Musgrave 10-0. So, psychologically for them, they need to go out and get back to the winning ways because the run coming up is very difficult. And, we have 3 games in between another wet weather weekend. And that this is literally going to define the season. I know we're very close to the end anyway, but you look at the fixtures for Nerang, look at the fixtures for Surface in that top spot race. It could set up to be an absolute cracking game between Nerang and Surface on, in July there for the title. So, I expect Surface to come out and do the job, but Broadbeach definitely won't be easy beats. These two sides haven't met all year, so it's the first time they're going to meet. It's rare for a team after you play majority, almost half the second round to not play each other. So, Jamie's got them coached well. He's got a good structure in place. But I think Surfers might prove to be too strong, especially with that hunger, and that it's now come to not desperation, but it really is, isn't it? One more slip, you might not even have to lose a game, but you could still take your hands off that title. And now, though, the pressure now goes in Nerang as well. So very easy when you're 7 points behind to say Surfers have a league, one hand of the trophy, and we hope to make finals and have a good finals run. Now you're there. So now your pressure's on you a little bit as well. And although, we've got no pressure, whatever happens, happens, psychologically, we as humans are predisposed and preconditioned to pressure, and it happens. And so it'd be very interesting to see how they respond with that, with a 3-game stretch that is also going to be extremely interesting to see how they go.
Speaking of pressure at the top, let's turn our attentions now to the Coast League. And Gareth, Tallebudgera, you're on fire.
Yeah, try it, mate. Take it one game at a time. You know how it is. The old cliche.
So, 8 points on top of the table.
Yeah. We've hit a run of form, obviously, which is good. Obviously, we had a bit of a slip up against Legends, which was fun, which you guys spoke about last week. But yeah, hopefully get revenge in a couple of weeks.
So what's been the keys to your success this season?
Yeah, it's very, as Mark mentioned last week, it's very easy for me to go, Matthilton's the kind of the magic man behind it all, but somebody's got to set up those goals for Matt. So we've been pretty well situated since pre-season in regards to the experienced players, which we kind of knew that we could rely on. But I suppose the youngsters who have come over again have been amazing, just to kind of gel in with the older players. Very easy for a young lad coming in and being put up top with Matty Hilton, for example. It's like, I hope I can put the right ball in behind or give the ball to his feet and whatnot. But yeah, they've been amazing. Fair play. The group of lads there is outstanding for a club which this is their first senior Saturday league. And we've managed to get 40 to 45 lads together and put two, literally, they're all cracking lads. They're all there at training every week, bar a couple of the old boys who would prefer to have ice baths. But yeah, they're it's great. It's a great atmosphere down there at the moment. And obviously with the club opening up soon as well, it's just going to get better. So
how many of the 62 goals that you've scored this season, how many has have gone with Matt Hilton?
Oh, Mark, do you know the exact figure? I reckon it's 21, 22 maybe.
I think it is 22.
Yeah.
I think it's 22. I think
okay.
Last time
all right.
it was about 20.
So it is still being shared around.
Yeah, we're not a one-man team.
I was going to ask you if the rest of the team
actually.
strategy is give it to Matt, sit back and relax.
No, to be honest, it's quite funny, as I'm sure Brett will probably agree with me here. It's kind of the opposite. Everyone we play against is going to go, get Matt. If we've got a spare defender, he marks Matt. So it's superb. We've got players like Archie, Wado, Macca, a couple of the young lads like Zane, Stewie, Harry Stobbs. It's like most of the time they're not even getting marked. So it's superb. And yeah, we've like I said, we've got those other players who can actually dominate a game other than Matt as well. So there's sometimes, as all of us here know, Matt just comes up with his magic, which is superb. So, and that's exactly what happened against Tweed. Just whips the ball in on his left foot from outside the box. It's classic Matt Hilton, isn't it? So
tell us a little bit about the club. I was down there 2 years ago for a Gold Coast United game, and you share the prairie right up the other end, aren't you? So, yeah. And I was told at the time that you were just a junior club. What's
Correct.
happened?
Yeah, so Lewis and Jason have done amazing there since they kind of started the club. And the juniors is obviously building, as Brett knows with his juniors at Palmy. There's so many people in that catchment area. So I suppose we're kind of sharing anybody who can't really fit into Palmy and so on and stuff like that. So the juniors have kind of built up there. And I think it was always something which Lewis and Jace wanted to do, was have a men's senior team. I was down there last season when they were talking about putting a Division 2 team in, but obviously that didn't go ahead with the leagues and whatnot. And yeah, it was kind of a plan. I spoke to Levi very late last year and kind of said, I think there's a good opportunity there. I mean, the contacts which we know as well, which we can get at the club, and a lot of the lads were interested. They're around that kind of area as well, which made it perfect for us. And yeah, it kind of just fell into place, to be honest. The new clubhouse is absolutely amazing. As Mark can tell you, he's seen it as well. It's sensational. So it's a club on the up, which is superb. And great to be a part of it.
And how's your relationship with GCU?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, when I was coaching at Burley, Prem Resi's actually, Thwaite used to come down and run a couple of sessions with us. So I've known them for a couple of years and whatnot, but I'd love to, I mean, I haven't really spoken to the club about it, but it's one thing which I would love to build a relationship with them. I think it's essential for the Gold Coast League in general. That should be where they're going. I mean, that if we've got any potential players on the Gold Coast, they should be going to Gold Coast United, not to these other teams, not to the Brisbane League or whatever. We want them playing here. So yeah, that's something which I would like to put into place with the club. Obviously, that's a fair way down the track. This is our first senior year, but I mean, to have the juniors having that kind of pathway into hopefully Gold Coast Premier League football, and then, well, who knows next year what it will be called, but yeah, and then go into the Gold Coast United team. I mean, that's what we want. That's the whole point of having a Gold Coast United team here on the coast. So, yeah.
Yep, makes perfect sense. Now, you had a 4-3 win over Tweed United last week. Tell us about that.
Well, you can see I'm starting to go grey, and I'm 31. So, yeah, it's been a fun couple of games. I mean, it's what we knew in preseason. We knew we wouldn't have our star players fit for the full year. And we've just been riddled with injuries. Very easy for a coach to say that, but it was just going to be one of those games. We had to win. I honestly, I said to the lads before the game, I said, I don't care how we play. I said, if we play the way we play, we win this game. Obviously, they ignored me completely. We go into halftime 2-1 down. And then, yeah, we managed to pick it back up. And as I said, Matty scores an absolute screamer and we win 4-3. And the rest is history. Luckily, nobody was there with a camera. So superb.
All right, quickly looking at the other results. Legends had a 3-2 win over Tambourine Mountain. Narang 6-0 over Musgrave. Pacific Pines 4-2 away win at Ormo. And Mudgeeraba 5-0 over Palm Beach. So as we mentioned before, 8-point gap at the top of the league over second place Legends, who have moved back up a spot. Mudgeeraba in third and Tweed United rounding out the top four. Those top four, the other three clubs in the top four, are they there on merit? Is there a team that's a little bit further down that you're thinking, well, they probably should be doing a little bit better than that?
Yeah, I mean, my kind of danger teams at the start of the year, which we didn't even know what squads they were going to have. You just know what's going to happen in Division 1. It's Pack Pines, Mudgee. I knew Narang would be good because they're youngsters, and that was my concern because we're all old farts. I knew Legends would be good, experience, same as us. And obviously Tweed every single year. It's kind of the same drill there. They get the lads back, same team, and they have a good year. So those kind of clubs, again, you never know what's going to come out of the teams who have Premier League teams. Same as Palmy, like really young lads as well, who there was potential for there to run us off the park. So yeah, we've got to be careful with every team in that league. That's why I love Division 1. It's superb. I absolutely love it. It's a great league, and I don't think it gets enough credit, to be honest, because literally anyone can beat anyone. I know we've had a couple of big results against the Runaway Bay and stuff like that, but round 2 is a completely different story. We've got to go again. So yeah.
You've got the bye this week. What do you do with the squad? Is it get away from football? You've got a bonding session? Do you go and watch a game?
Yeah, we had a training session on Tuesday, just to get the legs going again after Tweed. It was a hard game, and there was a few niggles out of it. So I just wanted to get the lads moving again. Thursday we'll do a bit of a recovery session, and they can have a nice early night off, weekend off. we'll do a bit of a team bonding session on Saturday and then back into training on the Tuesday. So, and then Runaway Bay.
All right. Looking at the other fixtures, Tambourine Mountain hosting Pacific Pines, Tweed United against Mudgeeraba. That should be a beauty. Legends taking on Palm Beach, Musgrave against Runaway Bay, and Narang against Ormo. Any upsets? Can you see any upsets in those games?
I think Palmy's an upset. I think Palmy will upset Legends.
What do you think, Brett?
Well, seeing as I'm putting all my Premier League players who are under 18 to that team for the weekend, you might be right. I'm not doing that. No, I don't. But yeah, they've been a bit light on numbers recently, the Coast League team, for whatever reasons, the flu and all the rest of it. But no, I think they can match up against Legends. I'll be there to watch that game. But, just on the Coast League, from my experience in years gone by, if you've got the number one striker in that league, you win that league. I think Luke Morley back in the day, Mark will correct me, I think Luke Morley, when he was at Murwillumbah, scored about 60-something goals in that league, got them promoted. When we were at the Knights, we had
Rizic and Dean Wernerson top two.
Dean Wernerson, a couple other guys up front who could score goals. If you've got a decent striker, realistically, you win that comp.
All right. That's just about the show. I would like to congratulate Gold Coast Knights on making the round of 32 in the FFA Cup. We had Roman Hoffman, the captain of the club, on the Football Queensland edition of this program last night. So if you've missed that, make sure to go and check it out. Mark, you do work with Gold Coast Knights. What was the vibe at the club on Sunday night?
It was good overall. Obviously, they got the job done. That was the most crucial part. It didn't really have that, that last-ditch, cup game right before the national stage. Didn't really have that feeling. I think they killed, Knights came out and killed the game in the first half really quickly. That sort of set the tone for a second half. That, the exodus of patrons at the halftime break was obviously there because, the game was done.
It was a foregone conclusion. There's no way Wanderers were going to get back.
There was no round of 32 flag to celebrate there. No Football Queensland presence, which there was definitely presence there in the other fixtures in FFA Cup. So, it's for Knights, not that they're going to sit there and cry over spilt milk, because at the end of the day, they're through to the 32. But, there could have been some more things done there, to give that a bit more of a feel of a cup, a last round cup before the national stage. I mean, Surfers Palm Beach had people more on edge, I think, for the 90 minutes from both sides. And always that middle game, when we see like afternoons like that middle game before the main game per se, that second half is always the biggest crowd because you have that transition of people coming in. So, but, to reach the round of 32 again for the second time in the club's history, first time they did it was in Gold Coast Premier League. We've had a lot of success on the Gold Coast of teams reaching the 32. Not only from a local league, but also the NPL. I think that, I stand to be corrected, I think there may have only been 1 year, if there was only 1 year, that a Gold Coast team didn't make the 32, and that was 2019. Or did Coomera make it in 2019? I think, no, Coomera did make it. So we actually haven't had a year where Gold Coast presence hasn't been in the 32. You look at Sunshine Coast, I don't think they've had 1 year with a team in the 32. So Brisbane's obviously 3 times the population of Gold Coast playing number-wise and also money-wise in years gone by. So, for our little zone to continue to reach the national stage in all different teams, surfaces, Coomeras, it just shows you that, there are, as Gareth said, there's a lot of good footballers around on the Gold Coast, and there's a lot of good footballers coming through the ranks. So it's just about nurturing that process and, for Knights to reach the national stage. I know everyone's hoping for a home game. They're about to do a lighting upgrade, which will accommodate, lighting for A-League teams if necessary. I personally would like to see Joondalup in Perth away, so I can go on a little red-eye flight across Australia. But no, look, as you said there, it's a fantastic achievement. Could have been better, but again, you take 4-0 rather than a last gasp winner to qualify.
Mark, just on the day, I thought it was a good promotion for the football on the Gold Coast here on Sunday. So, hats off to whoever organised that, Adam and Kirk and all the rest of it. And I think we probably need to do more of that, promote local football and, and support the NPL teams at the same time. So, yeah, hats off to all those.
That
involved.
facility, as you saw, Darren, as well. The state of that pitch and everything around it, and the ground and the whole experience is something we don't have on the Gold Coast.
Licensed on the sidelines.
Everywhere. So you could land a helicopter on the concrete, how thick it is. But there is literally, as Brett said, a lot of people have thought the same way. A lot of people think that, Sunday's match of the round should always be played there. And it's got valid merit points. It just shows you that, now with everything that's happening in Football Queensland and the reforms, who knows if it will happen, but the need for another elite premier facility for the Gold Coast to be able to host these big games and finals and carnivals and whatever that may look like. With Emerald Lakes being given to Football Gold Coast and that being on ice for now, that was supposed to be that whole idea. But again, with the amount of money and investment that's been put into the Gold Coast Knights, it was a great showcase for football. And, like yourself, the chances of you coming down to Lex Bell to watch that game or a triple header with Knights playing after in the FFA Cup is a big difference.
Definitely. And, it was the appeal of coming down, getting to see the Gold Coast Premier League and the FFA Cup was brilliant. Loved it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Complex, surely that facility could perform that role in future.
Do you want my honest opinion?
Go for it. Drop the bomb, Mark.
I don't think so. And I don't think it can, only because of it being council run.
Right.
When you're privately owned, like the Gold Coast Knights, you have more scope and more chance of getting things over the line. And basically, if you've got the funds, you can do it. At Complex, it's a bit different. They just got their fence in. So, the way the club is situated and the proximities of everything, it's a bit spread out, a bit far away. So it makes it much more difficult to build that ambience and that feeling. And also the location. I mean, it's great down south. Don't get me wrong, but you got Carrara there, the train station's right there. Other major stadiums are there. You're 10 minutes from Surfers Paradise. It's got a bit more of right off the highway as well. So you got a bit more appeal with the Knights facility as a whole. And like I said, the privately owned part is the biggest part. So the investment in the pitch has far exceeded 6 figures each and every season. I know that, how much money gets put into the pitch to make sure it's a perfect surface. And as people know, Knights used to have the running joke that, a dog would come on a Saturday morning and take a piss on the field and then it'd be called off. Now, the amount of work that Adrian has done and the club to put drainage systems in place, it still holds a little water, but it's much better than what it was. So, for United, it's always on floodplain. That will always be against its detriment that, 2 dogs go for a walk on a Saturday morning and take a piss, it's probably flooded. So that's the only thing about Complex for me.
Gareth, do you agree with that assessment?
I do agree. Also, the golfers who tend to go down there on a Friday afternoon and just play 18 holes on there with their dogs, which is great. So, fences needed.
What about you, Brett?
Yeah, look, I think the location of the Knights is paramount. Next to Metricon Stadium and bus services. There's a bus stop across the road. There's a train stop up the road. And like Mark said, Adrian has invested a lot. They had a vision a few years back or 5 years back, and it's basically where they are now. And it's the number one ground. It's a pleasure to go there. Facilities are good. So I hope we get to play more games there.
It's changed the whole mentality of, I think, Gold Coast people in general about the Knights, in the facility especially. It used to be one of the most hated places to go to, even to watch. People never used to like going there. It's funny, you go there and you still see the wooden poles at the back, and Brett will know because we were there when the wooden poles were still in use at the start before Adrian put the new lights in. And that's still there for now. That's actually going down in a couple of weeks, but that shows you how far they've come. They used to have these 2 little poles that I think are termite ridden, with a light that you could probably light a bedroom with. It was candlelit. The field was horrible. It was, all over.
Remember all the weeds, Mark? There used to be big 6-foot weeds everywhere. Those bottom dressing sheds were like a cave.
Yeah.
Miles away. Like, to see where it is now, it's almost a different world.
We walked in, and I'm not going to say, obviously, Adrian has done phenomenally, and he's the main reason this has all happened. But when we walked in 2016 into that dressing shed, the old Knights dressing sheds, the only thing that was missing were dead bodies, put it that way. That's literally what it was like.
Me and Oscar spent 2 weeks cleaning the dressing sheds by hand.
Yeah, it was
literally a dump.
Yeah, and now
bottom of the second league, bottom of Coast League 2 at that stage, weren't they?
Bottom of Coast League, and now the club is fully operational, pumping bars, canteens. You've seen it. It is the premier facility, and look, it hasn't been announced. And I might be talking out of school. I don't think I am, but I think it's pretty clear that most likely the final will be held there as well. Both Premier League and Coast League finals, I think, would be great to have there on 2 separate days, the Saturday and the Sunday, because it has all the facilities to monitor people coming in and out, have all the canteen and bar facilities. And I mean, if you look at it from a hosting perspective, I remember in 2012 when I was at Merrimack, we hosted the grand final, and the amount of work that goes in, and Brett was there. Actually, Brett, you were there as well with us.
Yeah, I was there. That was the year you scored the winner, wasn't it, Mark?
I won't talk about that. I don't talk about my to host the final, the amount of work that goes in with volunteers, renting of equipment, purchasing, and then the whole experience, you spend more time worrying about that. You don't get to watch your team play, and you might make a couple thousand here and there. You're not making life-changing money or club-changing money. With the Knights, you have the facility just to rock up, stand at the door and say $5, please, and casually walk out and have your cash done, and have everything done for you. So it's a no-brainer, I think, for our final. And again, that side of things, but the football side of things. I mean, you saw that pitch, how it rolled and how it played, and it was, I'm sure Brett and his team and Alex and his team, they were delighted to play on such a surface. And their mighty Rezzi's got the chance to play on it first, which is even better. Who also thought they were going to play on field 2. At one stage, they thought they were going to play the Rezzi game on field 2. So they got a nice surprise when they let them on field 1.
All right. We might end it there, guys. That's a long show today. All right. So Gareth and Brett, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Darren.
guys.
Best of luck. Best of luck, Gareth.
Thank you, mate. You too.
Great debut, Gareth. Well done.
Cheers, guys.
Appreciate
And
it.
Mark, as per usual, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. This has been the Village Law SEQFC preview show. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you guys next week.